Her phone wouldn't stop vibrating. 4 million people had watched the video in 3 hours. 4 million strangers had seen Nadia Chen on her knees, scrubbing a school hallway while 3 girls stood over her, laughing. One of them kicked the bucket. Water splashed everywhere. The phone cameras kept recording. The laughter got louder. The caption said, "Scholarship trash doing what she does best." By midnight, it had been shared 42,000 times. Comments flooded in. Some people felt sorry for her. Most people just laughed. A few said she deserved it. One comment read, "This is what happens when poor kids try to buy their way into rich schools." But none of them knew the truth. None of them knew who Nadia really was. And none of them knew that in exactly 6 hours, a second video would be uploaded. Same hallway, same moment, different angle, security camera footage, high definition, every face visible, every word recorded, and the person who posted it, the girl on her knees, because Nadia Chen wasn't a scholarship student. She was the one who installed those cameras. Hanseong International Academy sits on 12 acres in the wealthiest district of Seoul. The tuition is $80,000 per year. The waiting list is 7 years long. The parking lot looks like a luxury car dealership. Mercedes, BMW, Porsche. One student drives a Maserati. She's 17. The school has an Olympic-sized swimming pool, a professional theater with 300 seats, a robotics lab funded by Samsung, and a cafeteria that serves Wagyu beef on Fridays. The library has first edition books worth millions. The science wing has equipment most universities can't afford. This is where the children of CEOs, politicians, and celebrities go to school. This is where future presidents and billionaires learn calculus and European history. This is where connections are made that will shape South Korea for the next 50 years. And this is where, 8 weeks ago, a 19-year-old girl named Nadia Chen showed up with a broken backpack and shoes held together with tape. She looked like she didn't belong. That was the point. The first day, she walked through the main gates at 7:45 in the morning. Her jacket had a broken zipper. Her jeans were faded. Her sneakers had holes in the sides, covered poorly with duct tape. She carried a backpack that looked like it had survived a war. The straps were fraying. One of the zippers didn't work. She kept her head down, walked slowly, stayed close to the walls. Other students arrived in cars with drivers. They wore designer clothes, carried bags that cost more than most people make in a month. They moved through the hallways like they owned the place. Because they did. 3 girls sat on a bench near the main entrance. They noticed Nadia immediately. Lee Hannah, teen. Long black hair, always perfectly straight. Her father owns the 3rd largest construction company in South Korea. There's a building on campus named after her grandfather. She's never worked a day in her life. She doesn't plan to. Choi Minji, 17. Shorter. Always smiling. Her mother is a former actress turned luxury brand ambassador. Her family's net worth is estimated at $200 million. She has 400,000 followers on Instagram. She posts photos of her lunch. Park Saran, teen. The leader, tall, sharp features. Her father is a politician. Her mother sits on the board of 3 major corporations. Saran has been accepted to Harvard, Yale, and Oxford. She hasn't decided which one yet. She says it depends on where her friends go. They saw Nadia walk past, looked at her shoes, her jacket, her backpack. Minji leaned over to Hannah, whispered something. They both laughed. Saran just watched, quiet, calculating. Nadia kept walking, didn't look at them, didn't acknowledge them. She knew exactly who they were. She'd been studying them for 6 months. Room 304. Epi Literature. Nadia sat in the back row. The teacher, Mr. Kim, was discussing Kafka. Metamorphosis. The class was half asleep. These kids didn't need good grades. Their futures were already secured. College admissions were phone calls their parents made. Job offers came through family connections. Nadia opened her notebook, started taking notes. Her handwriting was careful, precise. Hannah sat 3 rows ahead. She was texting under her desk. Didn't even pretend to pay attention. Minji was watching a YouTube video with one earbud in. Volume low enough the teacher couldn't hear. Saran was actually reading. But not Kafka. She had a copy of Vogue hidden inside her textbook. The bell rang. Students filed out. Nadia stayed behind. Waited until the room was nearly empty. She walked up to Mr. Kim's desk. "Excuse me. I'm new. Nadia Chen. I transferred in this week." Mr. Kim looked up. Smiled politely. "Welcome to Hanseong. Where did you transfer from?" "Daegu Public High School." His smile faltered. Just slightly. Public school. That meant scholarship. That meant she didn't belong. "Well, welcome. If you need any help catching up, office hours are Tuesdays and Thursdays." "Thank you." She left. Walked down the hallway. Past Saran, who was standing with her friends near the lockers. Saran watched her go. Leaned over to Hannah. "Did you see her shoes?" "I know. Are those from a thrift store?" "Worse. I think they're from a donation bin." They laughed. Not loud. Just loud enough for Nadia to hear if she'd been listening. She kept walking. Turned the corner. Stopped. Pulled out her phone. Opened a voice recording app. Started documenting. Day 1. Subject group identified. Lee Hannah, Choi Minji Park Saran. Initial contact established. Behavioral patterns consistent with previous reports. Proceeding to phase 2. She hit stop. Saved the file. Put her phone away. Then she went to her next class. 2 years earlier, a different student walked these same hallways. Her name was Kim Yuna, 16 years old. Scholarship student. She'd earned a full ride based on her piano skills. She was a prodigy. Had won national competitions. Performed at concert halls. Her teacher said she had the talent to go professional. To study at Juilliard or the Royal Academy of Music. She arrived at Hanseong in September. Excited. Nervous. Hopeful. By December, she'd stopped playing piano. By February, she'd stopped going to class. By March, she was in a hospital bed with her wrists bandaged and a psychiatrist asking her if she wanted to hurt herself again. She survived. Barely. But she never went back to school. Never touched a piano again. Her hands shook too badly. The doctors said it was psychological. Trauma response. PTSD. Her parents wanted to press charges. Wanted to go to the police. Wanted justice. The school offered them 300 million won. Approximately $250,000. In exchange, they signed a non-disclosure agreement. They couldn't talk about what happened. Couldn't name the students involved. Couldn't sue. They took the money. They needed it for Yuna's medical bills. For therapy. For the years of treatment she'd need. The 3 girls who bullied her stayed at Hanseong. No consequences. No punishment. No record of what they'd done. The school issued a statement about strengthening anti-bullying policies. They hired a new counselor. Sent an email to parents. Everyone moved on. Except the Ministry of Education. They'd been tracking Hanseong for years. Reports of harassment. Complaints buried. Families paid off. A pattern of institutional negligence. So they opened an investigation. And they sent Nadia Chen undercover. Week 2. Nadia was in the cafeteria. Lunch period. The room was massive. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a garden. Tables made of polished wood. The food was catered by a restaurant that had 2 Michelin stars. She sat alone. Far table. Corner seat. She'd brought instant ramen from home. The cheap kind. 3 packages for $1. She poured hot water into the cup. Waited 3 minutes. Started eating. Across the cafeteria, Hannah, Minji, and Saran sat at the center table. The popular table. The table everyone wanted to sit at but couldn't unless they were invited. Minji saw Nadia. Elbowed Hannah. Pointed. "Oh my God. Is she eating instant ramen? In the cafeteria? Where we have actual food? That's so embarrassing." Saran looked over. Studied Nadia for a moment. She's probably trying to save money. Scholarship students don't get meal plans. That wasn't true. All students got meal plans. But facts didn't matter. Minji pulled out her phone. opened the camera, zoomed in on Nadia, took a photo. Nadia looked up, made eye contact. For just a second, Minji smiled, waved, then turned back to her friends. Within 10 minutes, the photo was in a group chat with 300 students. Caption: When scholarship isn't enough for the meal plan. The reactions came fast. Laughing emojis, crying emojis, skull emojis, comments. Why is she even here? Doesn't she know this isn't a charity school? Someone should tell her about the donation bins downtown. 217 people saw it, reacted to it, shared it. Nadia saw it too. Someone had added her to the group chat, probably as a joke, so she could see what they were saying. She screenshotted everything, every message, every reaction, every name. Then she opened her laptop, created a spreadsheet, started documenting. Name, grade, date, time, content shared, type of harassment. Korean cyberbullying law is very specific. Digital harassment, distribution of defamatory content, invasion of privacy. Each person who shared that photo could be held liable. Fines starting at 5 million won. Potential criminal charges for repeated offenses. She saved the file, backed it up to 3 different cloud servers. Then she went back to eating her ramen. That night, Nadia sat in a small apartment 15 minutes from campus. 1 bedroom, barely furnished. A desk, a chair, a laptop, a bed. This wasn't her real home. Her real home was in Gangnam. 34th floor, 3 bedrooms, view of the river. Her mother was Director Chun Min-seo, head of the National Education Standards Bureau. Her father was Senior Prosecutor Chin Wei, specializing in financial crimes and institutional corruption. But for the next 2 months, this apartment was where she lived, where she reviewed footage, where she compiled evidence, where she reported back to the ministry. She opened her laptop, pulled up security camera feeds. Hanseong had 87 cameras throughout the campus. Hallways, classrooms, common areas, parking lots. The school had hired Chun Security Solutions to install them 3 years ago. Chun Security Solutions was owned by Nadia's uncle, which meant Nadia had access to every camera, every feed, every archived recording. She scrolled through the day's footage, watched herself walk through the hallways, watched Hannah, Minji, and Saran whispering, watched students pointing at her shoes. She made notes, logged timestamps, built a timeline. Her phone buzzed. Text message. Unknown number. How's the first week? She replied, proceeding as expected. Initial contact established. Subjects are responding to stimuli. Good. Remember, we need evidence of institutional failure, not just student behavior. Understood. She put her phone down, stared at the screen. Kim Yuna's file was open in another tab. Hospital records, police report, settlement agreement. There was a photo. Yuna at a piano recital, smiling, confident, alive. Another photo. Yuna in a hospital bed, eyes empty, hands bandaged. Nadia closed the tab. Then she went back to work. Week 3. The library, 2nd floor, quiet section. Nadia was sitting at a table near the window. She had an old laptop. The screen was already cracked. Someone had stepped on it during her first week. Accident. Or maybe not. She was typing. Research paper for history class. The assignment was on post-war economic development in South Korea. Footsteps behind her. Heels clicking on the polished floor. She didn't look up. Hannah appeared. Stood next to the table. Looked down at the laptop. Oh wow. Is that thing from 2015? Her friends were behind her. Minji. 2 other girls. They were all smiling. Phones out. Nadia kept typing. It works. Barely. Hannah laughed. Her friends laughed. Then Hannah walked past. Her hand slipped. Knocked the laptop off the table. Crash. The laptop hit the floor. The screen shattered completely. Keys popped off the keyboard. Silence. Hannah covered her mouth. Eyes wide. The perfect performance. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I didn't see it. Are you okay? But she was smiling. Just a little. At her friends. Nadia looked at the laptop. Then at Hannah. It's fine. No, seriously. I feel terrible. If you need help getting a new one, it's fine. She picked up the pieces. The broken screen. The detached keys. Put them in her backpack. Hannah watched. Uncomfortable now. She'd expected tears. Anger. Something. Not this calm. Okay. Well. Sorry. She walked away. Her friends followed. Whispering. Giggling. Nadia sat there for a moment. Then she looked up. Security camera. Top corner of the room. Red light blinking. She'd positioned herself in frame deliberately. Made sure the angle was perfect. That night she reviewed the footage. Watched Hannah approach. Watched her knock the laptop off the table. Watched that smile. That little smirk before the fake apology. She zoomed in. Enhanced the image. Captured the moment. Digital evidence. Timestamp. Proof of intent. Under Korean law, destruction of property with malicious intent is a criminal offense, especially when the perpetrator attempts to deceive others about their actions. She saved the video, added it to a folder labeled HL, Exhibits 1 to 15. 15 incidents now. She was counting. Week 4. Gym class. The girls were playing volleyball. Nadia was on one team. Hannah, Minji, and Saran were on the other. The gym teacher, Ms. Park, was barely paying attention. She was scrolling through her phone. These kids didn't need supervision. They were the children of powerful people. They could do whatever they wanted. The game started. Nadia stayed in the back. Didn't draw attention. Let other girls spike the ball. Stayed quiet. Then Saran served. Hard. Fast. Directly at Nadia's face. Nadia ducked. The ball hit the wall behind her. Sorry. I was aiming for the corner. Saran wasn't sorry. Next serve. Same thing. Right at Nadia. This time she couldn't duck fast enough. The ball hit her shoulder. Hard. Oh no. Are you okay? Minji was laughing, trying to hide it behind her hand. Miss Park looked up. Finally. Everything okay? Yeah. Just a bad serve. Saran smiled. Sweet. Innocent. The game continued. Every time Saran served, the ball went toward Nadia. Every time. After class, in the locker room, Nadia changed quickly. Didn't shower. Didn't talk to anyone. She grabbed her bag. Walked toward the door. Saran stepped in front of her. Hey, sorry about gym. I'm really bad at aiming. It's fine. No, seriously. I feel bad. Let me make it up to you. There's a study group meeting tomorrow. You should come. Nadia looked at her. Studied her face. The smile. The eyes. This was a trap. Where? Library. 6 p.m. We're reviewing for the calculus exam. Okay. Saran's smile widened. Great. See you there. She walked away. Nadia knew she wouldn't show up. The study group didn't exist. This was another humiliation. Show up to an empty library. Wait alone. While they took photos from a distance and posted them online. Scholarship girl so desperate for friends she believed us. But Nadia went anyway. 6 p.m. Library. 2nd floor. She sat at a table. Opened her textbook. Started reviewing calculus. No one showed up. She waited 30 minutes. Then she heard it. Giggling. From the stairwell. She walked over. Looked down. Hannah and Minji. Phones out. Recording. They saw her. Ran. That night. A new photo appeared in the group chat. Nadia sitting alone at a table. Caption. Still waiting for friends that don't exist. For 100 reactions. Nadia saved it. Added it to the evidence file. Exhibit 16. Week 5. Things escalated. Started small. Someone put gum on her chair in homeroom. She sat on it. Ruined her jeans. The only pair she'd brought that looked decent. Then someone accidentally spilled juice on her backpack. It soaked through. Ruined her notebooks. Then someone took her gym shoes and threw them in the trash. She found them later, covered in cafeteria waste. Every incident had witnesses. But no one saw anything. No one said anything. The teachers didn't notice. Or didn't care. This was Hanseong. These things didn't happen here. And if they did, it wasn't the school's problem. One afternoon, Nadia was walking to her locker. The hallway was empty. Classes were still in session. She opened her locker. Everything was gone. Her textbooks, her notebooks, her jacket, her phone charger, everything. She stood there, staring at the empty space. Then she heard footsteps, turned around. Saran. Alone this time. Lose something? Nadia didn't respond. You know, I've been thinking. You don't really fit in here. And I don't think you ever will. Is that right? Yeah. This school is for people who belong. People who understand how things work. You don't. Nadia closed the locker. Looked directly at Saran. You're right. I don't understand. Explain it to me. Saran smiled. Cold. Calculated. People like you? You're here because someone felt sorry for you. Because the school needed to fill a diversity quota. You're a checkbox. That's it. And people like you? We're here because we earned it. Because our families built this place. Because we matter. Nadia nodded slowly. Interesting perspective. It's not a perspective. It's reality. Saran walked away. Nadia stood there, alone in the hallway. Then she reached into her jacket pocket, pulled out her phone, stopped the audio recording. 1 minute, 43 seconds. Every word, crystal clear. Under Korean law, verbal harassment based on socioeconomic status is a prosecutable offense, especially when it creates a hostile environment. She saved the file. Exhibit 22. Week 6. The incidents continued. Faster now. More aggressive. Someone scratched her locker. Carved the word trash into the metal. Someone took her homework and threw it in the toilet. Someone posted her class schedule online with the caption, "Avoid these classes if you don't want to smell poverty." Every incident was documented. Every word was recorded. Every photo was saved. But Nadia didn't fight back. Didn't complain. Didn't tell a teacher. She just kept going. Kept her head down. Kept collecting evidence. Because she needed more than student harassment. She needed proof that the school knew. That the administration was complicit. That this was institutional negligence. And she was about to get it. Week 7. Bathroom. 3rd floor. After gym class, Nadia was alone, washing her hands. The door opened. Saran walked in. Minji and another girl followed. They blocked the door. Nadia looked up, made eye contact in the mirror. Saran walked over, stood behind her. Those shoes are embarrassing. Nadia looked down. Her sneakers, sole peeling, held together with duct tape. They work. Barely. They make the whole school look bad. Saran reached down, picked up Nadia's shoes. She'd taken them off to change after gym. These belong in a donation bin. She walked to the nearest stall, dropped the shoes in the toilet, flushed. The water swirled. The shoes floated, soaked. Actually, they belong in the trash. But this works too. Minji laughed. The other girl filmed it on her phone. Nadia stood there, barefoot, staring at the toilet. Saran walked past her, stopped at the door. Try buying new ones. I hear there's a thrift store downtown that takes charity cases. They left. The door swung shut. Nadia stood there, alone. Then she reached into her jacket, pulled out her phone, stopped the audio recording. 47 seconds. Every word, every laugh, every sound of the toilet flushing. She walked to the stall, looked at her shoes. Ruined. She left them there, walked out of the bathroom, barefoot, through the hallway, down the stairs, out the main entrance. 30-minute walk home. February in Seoul. Temperature just above freezing. Her feet bled. She didn't stop. When she got to her apartment, she sat on the floor. Looked at her feet. Blisters. Cuts. Blood. She took photos. Medical documentation. Then she opened her laptop. Added the audio file to the evidence folder. SP Evidence Package 3. She pulled up the security footage. The bathroom didn't have cameras. privacy laws, but the hallway did. She watched Saran, Minji, and the other girl walk into the bathroom. Watched them block the door. Watched them leave, laughing. She checked the timestamp, cross-referenced it with her audio recording. Perfect match. She saved everything. Backed it up. Then she sent a message. Phase 2 complete. Ready to proceed to Phase 3. The response came 2 minutes later. Confirmed. Prepare for final operation. Ms. Kong arrives next week. Nadia closed her laptop, stared at the wall, thought about Kim Yuna, in a hospital bed, hands shaking, unable to play piano, thought about all the students before her, the ones who'd been bullied, humiliated, broken, the ones the school had paid to stay quiet. This was about to end. Week 8. Monday morning. A new teacher arrived. Ms. Kong. Mid-40s. Sharp suit. Government ID badge visible on her lanyard, but small enough most people didn't notice. She was introduced in the morning assembly. Ms. Kong will be teaching a special course on corporate compliance and ethics. All seniors are required to attend. The students barely paid attention. Another elective. Another easy A. But the administrators noticed. The headmaster, Yang Jun-ho, looked uncomfortable. He'd tried to block this course. Said it wasn't necessary. The board had overruled him. First class. Room 401. Ms. Kong stood at the front. Didn't smile. Didn't introduce herself beyond her name. Today we're discussing a case study. Korean Legal Code. Article 268. Institutional liability. She pulled up a slide. Legal text. Dense. Boring. Most students tuned out. Started texting. But Nadia was listening. The question is this. When does institutional negligence become criminal liability? When does looking the other way become a crime? She walked to the center of the room. Let's say a school receives multiple complaints about harassment, bullying, assault, and let's say the school settles these complaints with money, pays families to stay quiet, doesn't punish the perpetrators, doesn't change its policies. She paused. Is that negligence? Or is that conspiracy? The headmaster, sitting in the back of the room, shifted in his seat. Under Korean law, if an institution knowingly allows harm to continue, if it actively covers up that harm, it's no longer negligence. It's criminal conspiracy, and the administrators can be held personally liable. Silence. This means prison time, loss of professional licenses, permanent records. Not just for the institution, for the individuals. She looked directly at Headmaster Yang. So when we discuss ethics, we're not discussing philosophy. We're discussing the law, and the consequences of breaking it. Class ended. Students filed out, confused, uncomfortable. Nadia stayed behind, waited until the room was empty. Ms. Kong looked at her. How are you holding up? Good. Ready for the next phase. The gala is in 4 days. Everything is in place. And the evidence? Secured. We have enough to move forward. But we need the final piece. The administration's response. Exactly. We need proof that they know what's happening and are choosing to ignore it. Nadia nodded. I'll get it. Ms. Kong handed her a folder. These are the complaints from the past 3 years. The ones the school buried. Read them. Memorize them. You'll need to reference them during your reveal. Nadia took the folder. That night, she read through every document, every complaint, every settlement agreement. 17 cases, 17 students, all bullied, all paid off, all silenced. Kim Yuna was number 14. The latest case was from 6 months ago. A sophomore, harassed for being overweight. The 3 perpetrators? Hannah, Minji, and Saran. The school paid the family 50 million won. The girl transferred to a different school. No consequences for the bullies. Nadia closed the folder. For more days. The Summit Gala was the most important event of the year at Hanseong. It was where the school showcased itself to donors, alumni, and corporate sponsors. It was where million-dollar donations were pledged. It was where the wealthy celebrated their wealth. The planning committee spent months preparing. This year, Hannah, Minji, and Saran were student chairs. They got to decide everything. The theme, the decorations, the program. They chose breaking barriers, a future without limits. The irony was completely lost on them. Nadia was assigned to janitorial support. She'd be in the kitchen, washing dishes, cleaning tables. Invisible, perfect, gala night. The school was transformed. The main hall looked like a palace. Crystal chandeliers, ice sculptures, a string orchestra playing Vivaldi, tables draped in silk, centerpieces made of orchids flown in from Thailand. Parents arrived in cars that cost more than most houses. Designer suits, diamond earrings, Rolex watches. The headmaster greeted them personally, shaking hands, smiling, thanking them for their generosity. Inside, the ballroom filled up. 300 people, corporate executives, politicians, celebrities, old money, new money, people who'd never worried about money. The kitchen was chaos. Servers rushing, chefs shouting, dishes piling up. Nadia was at the sink, elbow deep in soapy water. Her jacket was soaked. Her hair was pulled back. She looked exactly like someone who didn't belong. She could hear the program starting. Speeches. Applause. Hannah went first. Tonight is about celebrating what makes Hanseong special. Our commitment to excellence. Our dedication to inclusivity. Our belief that education should be accessible to all students, regardless of background. She was reading from note cards. Every word rehearsed. Approved by the PR team. Applause. Minji went next. My mother always taught me that empathy is the foundation of leadership. That we have a responsibility to lift up those who are less fortunate. To create opportunities for those who need them most. More applause. Then Saran. She was halfway through her speech when she looked toward the kitchen. Saw Nadia through the window, hands in dishwater. She paused, smiled. Then she went off script. And we don't just talk about inclusivity. We live it. Like Nadia, our hardship scholarship recipient, who's working so hard tonight to help make this event a success. A spotlight swung, landed on the kitchen window. On Nadia, the room turned. 300 people looking at her. Applause. Polite. Performative. Pitying. Saran was glowing. She thought she'd just done something noble. Generous. Kind. This was the moment she lost everything. Nadia set down the dish, wiped her hands on a towel, walked out of the kitchen. Every eye in the room followed her. She was still soaking wet, still wearing that broken jacket. But something changed. Her posture, her walk, the shuffle was gone. She walked across the ballroom, heels clicking on the marble floor. Wait, heels? She'd been wearing sneakers in the kitchen. People started noticing. She didn't look like a student anymore. She climbed the stairs to the stage, stood next to Saran. Saran's smile faltered, confused. Oh, you don't need to come up here. Nadia took the microphone from her hand. Thanks for that introduction, Saran. Her voice was completely different. Not quiet, not hesitant, clear, sharp, authoritative. But I need to correct something. The room went silent. I'm not a scholarship student. Confused murmurs. Nadia reached into her jacket, pulled out an ID badge, held it up. Ministry of Education, Special Investigations Division. I'm an investigator. The room erupted. Gasps, shouts, parents standing up. My name is Nadia Chen. My mother is Director Chun Min SEO, National Education Standards Bureau. My father is Senior Prosecutor Chun Wei, Financial Crimes Unit. She looked at Hannah. He reviewed your family's tax case last year. You settled. 40 million won in unpaid taxes. He could have pressed charges. He didn't. Maybe he should have. Hannah's face drained of all color. I've been here for 63 days. Undercover institutional assessment. I have documented evidence of 42 violations of Korean anti-harassment statutes. She pulled out her phone, held it up. Video, audio, digital forensics, witness testimony. She swiped. The screen behind her lit up. Projection, email thread, From yang.junho@hanseong.edu. Subject: Student complaint. Confidential. Let's make this go away quietly. The family is willing to settle for 50M. I've drafted an NDA. We can have this resolved by next week. No police. No press. The room exploded. Parents shouting. Students recording. Teachers frozen. Headmaster Yang tried to stand. Tried to speak. This is highly inappropriate. Sit down. The voice came from the back of the room. Ms. Kong. Standing. Government badge visible now. Ms. Kong. Senior investigator. Ministry of Education. Headmaster Yang. You're under investigation for witness tampering, obstruction of justice, and criminal conspiracy to conceal evidence of institutional abuse. Security guards appeared. 2 of them. Standing behind Yang. He sat down. Nadia continued. Saran. January 14th. 3rd floor bathroom. You destroyed my property. Shoes worth $18. Under Article 366, that's criminal property damage. Minimum fine, 5 million won. Maximum, 1 year in prison. Saran couldn't speak. Couldn't move. Minji. You created and distributed defamatory content. Group chat. 300 students. Each share is a separate count under Korean cyberbullying law. Your lawyer is going to have a very long day. Minji was crying. Full breakdown. Mascara running. Hannah. Library. Week 3. You destroyed my laptop. 100,000 won in damages. The security footage shows you smiling immediately after your fake apology. That's evidence of malicious intent. That upgrades the charge from property damage to criminal harassment. Hannah tried to run. Security blocked the exit. But here's what you all really need to understand. Nadia's voice dropped. Got quiet. Cold. There was a girl here 2 years ago. Kim Yuna. 16 years old. Scholarship student. Gifted pianist. National competition winner. The room was completely silent now. These 3 girls bullied her for 11 months. Destroyed her sheet music. Filmed her having a panic attack in the bathroom. Posted it online. 600,000 views before it was taken down. She pulled up a photo on the screen. Yuna. Before. Smiling. Holding a piano trophy. Then another photo. Yuna. After. Hospital bed. Bandaged wrists. Empty eyes. She tried to kill herself. April 3rd. She was found by her mother. Survived. Barely. You could hear people breathing. She's in long-term psychiatric care now. She can't play piano anymore. Her hands shake too badly. The doctors say it's trauma. PTSD. She'll probably never perform again. Saran was white. Minji was sobbing. Hannah looked like she might pass out. The school paid her family 300 million won to stay quiet. Made them sign an NDA. Kept these 3 enrolled. No punishment. No consequences. No record. She turned to face Headmaster Yang. You knew what happened. You had video footage. You had witness statements. You had everything you needed to expel them. To report them to the authorities. To do the right thing. But you didn't. Because their families donate money. Because their parents sit on the board. Because protecting them was more profitable than protecting her. Yang looked down. Couldn't meet her eyes. So the ministry sent me. They wanted to know if this place had learned anything. If new policies meant anything. If all those emails about zero tolerance and student safety were real. She paused. They weren't. She looked out at the crowd. Over the past 8 weeks, I have been harassed, humiliated, and assaulted. My property has been destroyed. I have been verbally abused, physically targeted, socially isolated. And not one teacher intervened. Not one administrator asked questions. Not one adult in this building did anything to stop it. Because you all saw me the way these 3 did. As someone who didn't belong. Someone who didn't matter. Someone who was here as a charity case. And if that's how you treat someone you think is poor, someone you think is beneath you, then this institution is morally bankrupt. Silence. The Ministry of Education is revoking Hanseong's accreditation pending a full investigation. The school will be closed for the remainder of the semester. All students will be transferred. All staff will be reviewed. Headmaster Yang, you're being formally charged with witness tampering and obstruction of justice. You'll be hearing from the prosecutor's office. Yang stood, tried to speak. Security escorted him out. Saran Minji Hana, you're being expelled. Effective immediately. Criminal charges are being filed. Your lawyers will receive the paperwork tomorrow. All three of them were crying now. And for everyone else in this room, the parents, the donors, the board members, Nadia looked directly at the audience. You're complicit. Every one of you. You knew what this place was. You knew what your children were doing. And you looked the other way because it was convenient. That ends tonight. She set down the microphone, walked off the stage. The room erupted. Chaos, shouting, parents arguing with administrators, students crying, security trying to maintain order. Nadia walked through it all, calm, collected. Ms. Kong met her at the exit. Well done. Is it enough? It's more than enough. The footage is being sent to the prosecutor's office now. The ministry will have everything they need by morning. Nadia nodded. She walked out of the building, into the cold night air, pulled out her phone. One new message. From Kim Yuna. I watched the live stream. Thank you. Nadia smiled. Then she went home. The fallout was immediate and catastrophic. By morning, every major news outlet in South Korea was covering the story. Video from the gala had been leaked. Someone in the audience had recorded the entire thing. It went viral. 10 million views in 12 hours. Emergency board meeting. Headmaster Yang resigned. Lost his pension. Criminal referral filed. 2 assistant administrators were terminated immediately. 3 teachers were suspended pending investigation. The school's accreditation was officially suspended. All classes cancelled. Students told to stay home. Saran was expelled. Her family hired the best lawyers in Seoul. The lawyers reviewed the evidence and advised them to settle, to apologize, to avoid trial. Saran's acceptance to Harvard was revoked. Yale withdrew their offer. Oxford did the same. She was blacklisted from 12 universities. Community service. 600 hours at a crisis center for at-risk youth. Mandatory restorative justice program. Her father issued a public apology. Her mother resigned from 2 corporate boards. Minji was suspended indefinitely. Her Instagram account was deleted. Her mother's company dropped her from all promotional materials. The scandal was too public, too damaging. Mandatory counseling. Public apology required. Participation in anti-bullying programs. Her family's donation to the school was returned. They were asked not to reapply. Hannah withdrew before she could be expelled. Transferred to an international school in Switzerland. Her father removed her from the family business entirely. Cut her off financially. She was sent to therapy. Court mandated. Her college applications were withdrawn. Her future was uncertain. But the biggest consequence wasn't for the students. It was for the school. The ministry's investigation uncovered 17 cases of buried complaints over 3 years. 17 students harassed, bullied, or assaulted. 17 families paid off. 17 NDAs signed. Total payout, over 2 billion won. Every case documented. Every settlement agreement obtained. Every email thread exposed. The board of directors was dissolved. 5 members faced criminal charges. The school's non-profit status was revoked. Hanseong International Academy would never reopen. The building was sold. The land repurposed. A monument was placed at the entrance, dedicated to Kim Yuna and the 16 other students who'd been silenced. In memory of those who were failed by the institution that should have protected them. 6 weeks later. National Education Summit. Convention Center in downtown Seoul. 2,000 attendees. Educators, policymakers, parents, press. Nadia was invited to speak. She stood at the podium. Behind her, a screen showed a photo. Her shoes, the ones from the toilet, preserved in a clear evidence bag. People ask me why I didn't reveal myself immediately, why I took the abuse for 2 months. She paused, looked out at the audience. Because people with power don't see their cruelty. They see order. They see hierarchy. They see the way things should be. She pointed to the shoes on the screen. Saran didn't think she was bullying me. She thought she was enforcing standards. Someone didn't belong. She was correcting that. Minji didn't think a group chat was violence. She thought it was social dynamics. Information sharing. Normal teenage behavior. Hannah didn't think breaking my laptop was malicious. She thought it was an accident. And even if it wasn't, I could just buy a new one. Right? She leaned forward. They needed to feel what it's like when the power flips. When suddenly you're the one being watched, judged, documented. When suddenly your actions have consequences. These shoes cost $18. But the lesson they taught cost millions. She pulled out her phone, held it up. This device recorded 47 hours of harassment. It documented 42 separate incidents. It preserved evidence that would have otherwise disappeared. Because institutions protect power. They don't protect victims. Not unless they're forced to. She looked directly at the camera in the back of the room. So here's what I want everyone watching this to remember. Be very, very careful who you underestimate. Be very careful who you humiliate. Be very careful whose shoes you throw in a toilet. Because you never know who's watching. You never know who's recording. And you never know who installed the cameras. The room erupted in applause. But Nadia wasn't done. Since the Hanseong case became public, the Ministry of Education has received over 4,000 complaints from students across South Korea. 4,000 reports of bullying, harassment, and institutional negligence. We can't investigate them all. We don't have the resources. But we're expanding our Undercover program. We're training more investigators. We're building better systems to protect students. And we're sending a message to every school, every administrator, every teacher. You will be held accountable. Not tomorrow. Not eventually. Now. She stepped back from the podium. Thank you. Standing ovation. 3 months later, Kim Yuna sat at a piano. Her apartment. Small. Quiet. Her hands hovered over the keys. Shaking slightly, she took a breath. Pressed down. One note. Then another. Then a chord. Chopin. Nocturne in E-flat major. Her hands shook. She missed notes. Had to stop. Start again. But she was playing. For the first time in 2 years, she was playing. Her mother stood in the doorway. Crying. Smiling. Yuna looked up. Saw her. Smiled back. Then she kept playing. If the story made you rethink power and justice, hit that subscribe button right now. Drop a comment and tell me. Have you ever witnessed bullying that was ignored by people in authority? What should have happened? I read every comment. Nadia's work didn't stop with Hanseong. The ministry expanded the program. Over the next year, 47 schools were placed under investigation. 12 more were shut down. 63 administrators faced criminal charges. 214 students were expelled. The law changed too. New legislation. Mandatory reporting requirements. Harsher penalties for institutional negligence. Protection for whistleblowers. It became known as Yuna's Law, named after the girl who survived, who was silenced, who was almost forgotten, but who would now be remembered every time a school failed to act. Every time an administrator looked the other way. Every time someone with power chose convenience over justice. 1 year later, Nadia sat in a coffee shop. Across from her, a 17-year-old boy, nervous, hands shaking. My name is David. I go to Seoul Foreign School. And I need help. Nadia listened. There's a teacher. He's been inappropriate with students, making comments, touching shoulders, standing too close. We've reported it. Nothing happened. How many students have reported it? 8. Over 2 years. And the school's response? They said there wasn't enough evidence. That we might be misinterpreting his behavior. that he's a respected teacher with 20 years of experience. Nadia made notes. Do you have documentation? Witnesses? Anything in writing? David pulled out a folder. Emails, screenshots, witness statements. We've been collecting evidence for 6 months. We don't know what to do with it. Nadia looked through the documents. Methodical, careful. Then she looked up. I'll take the case. David's eyes filled with tears. Relief. Thank you. Thank you so much. Don't thank me yet. This is going to be difficult. It's going to be public. Are you ready for that? Yes, we're ready. Nadia nodded. Okay, here's what's going to happen. The investigation took 4 months. Nadia went undercover again. This time as a parent volunteer. She observed classrooms, attended school events, talked to students. She documented everything. 12 separate incidents of inappropriate behavior. Witness statements from 19 students. Email evidence showing the school had received complaints and buried them. Then she brought in Ms. Kong. Official ministry investigation. Surprise inspection. The teacher was suspended immediately. Criminal charges filed. The principal was placed on administrative leave. For months later, the teacher was convicted. Lost his license. 6 months in prison. Permanent record. The principal resigned. The school was fined 50 million won. New policies implemented. Mandatory training for all staff. And David? He testified. Publicly. In court. He was terrified. But he did it. And afterward, he said something Nadia would never forget. I used to think speaking up didn't matter. That powerful people always win. But you proved that wrong. You showed me that the truth matters. That justice is possible. Thank you for not giving up on us. Nadia didn't respond, just nodded. But later, alone in her car, she cried. Because that's why she did this. Not for the headlines. Not for the recognition. For moments like that, when someone who felt powerless realized they weren't. Before we continue, if you're finding this story powerful, do me a favor. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. A teacher, parent, a student, someone who thinks speaking up doesn't matter. Show them that it does. And make sure you've hit that subscribe button. Because next video we're telling a story that'll blow your mind. Now back to Nadia's story. 2 years after Hanseong closed, Nadia received a letter. No return address. Handwritten. Postmarked from Switzerland. She opened it. Dear Nadia, I don't know if you'll read this. I don't know if you care. But I needed to write it. My name is Lee Hannah. You probably remember me. I want you to know that I think about what I did every single day. I think about the laptop, the comments, the cruelty, and I feel sick. I didn't see it then. I thought I was just being a teenager, following the group. I didn't think it was that serious. But it was. It destroyed people. It destroyed Kim Yuna. Almost destroyed you. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I just wanted you to know that I understand now. What I did. What I was. I'm in therapy. 3 times a week. I'm trying to understand why I thought treating people like that was okay. Why I valued status over humanity. I don't have a good answer yet. But I'm trying. I'll never go back to who I was. That person doesn't exist anymore. I won't let her. I'm studying social work now. I want to work with at-risk youth. Kids who've been bullied. Kids who feel powerless. I don't know if I can make up for what I did. But I'm going to spend my life trying. Thank you for exposing the truth. For not letting us get away with it. We needed to face consequences. I needed to face consequences. Sincerely, Hannah. Nadia read it twice. Then she folded it. Put it in a drawer. She didn't respond. Maybe one day she would. But not today. 3 years later, Kim Yuna performed publicly for the first time since her suicide attempt. Small venue. Community center. 50 people in the audience. She played Debussy. Claire de Lune. Her hands still shook. She missed notes. Had to pause twice. But she finished. The audience stood. Applauded. Yuna stood. Bowed. Tears streaming down her face. After the performance, a reporter asked her how it felt. Terrifying. but necessary. I needed to prove to myself that I could still do this, that they didn't take this from me permanently. What would you say to other survivors of bullying? Yuna thought for a moment. I'd say that healing isn't linear, that some days are harder than others, that it's okay to be angry, it's okay to not forgive. But I'd also say that you're not broken, that you can reclaim the parts of yourself that were taken. Takes time, takes help, but it's possible. And I'd say that speaking up matters, that the truth matters, that people like Nadia exist, people who will fight for you when you can't fight for yourself. She smiled. Don't give up. Present day. Nadia no longer works undercover. She's now the Director of Student Protection Services at the Ministry of Education. She oversees a team of 40 investigators. They handle cases across the country. She still gets calls, emails, letters, students who need help, parents who don't know where to turn, teachers who want to report misconduct but are afraid of retaliation. She responds to every single one, because she remembers what it's like to feel powerless, to be humiliated, to be treated like you don't matter. And she knows that sometimes all it takes is one person who listens, who believes, who acts, one person who refuses to look away. The last time Nadia visited Hanseong, the building was empty, boarded windows, overgrown grass, the monument at the entrance covered in flowers. She stood there for a long time, reading the names, 17 of them, Kim Yuna, Park Ji-hoon, Lee Min-young, students who were failed, who were silenced, who were almost forgotten, but who would now be remembered. She placed her own flowers at the base of the monument. Then she walked away. She had work to do, because there were more schools, more victims, more people who needed someone to fight for them, and she wasn't done. Not even close. The investigation happened. The school was shut down. Justice was served. But there are thousands of stories like this that never get told. Thousands of students suffering in silence. Thousands of institutions looking the other way. If the story moved you, here's what you can do. Subscribe to this channel. We tell stories that matter. Stories about justice, truth, and people who refuse to stay silent. Leave a comment. Tell me your story. Have you witnessed institutional negligence? Have you seen bullying that was ignored? What happened? What should have happened? I read every comment. And sometimes those comments turn into investigations. Next video drops in 2 days. The Janitor Investor. A man mops floors at a tech startup for 7 months. Doesn't say much. Just observes. What the executives don't know. He owns 40% of the company. And he just discovered they've been committing fraud. The fallout is spectacular. Don't miss it. Hit subscribe. Turn on notifications. And remember, you never know who's watching. You never know who's recording. And you never know who installed the cameras. Thank you for watching. See you in tomorrow.